This is the player in your clinic who thinks that they are also a coach. The drill is happening, the activity is going on, and then they decide that they are going to coach. They're going to give their advice to the players that are also out there on the court. They're taking the lesson with you. Drives me crazy. Then you got to take them aside quietly and say, hey, I really appreciate it, but I need you just to concentrate on what you're doing right now. Concentrate on your own game. If you got questions, feel free to ask me. One of the best tips that I was ever given by someone who's a really, really good coach was, Mark, think about where it is you're standing when you're coaching. Think about where I'm standing. Well, how does that really matter? Well, there's a few different ways. One is if you're demonstrating something to your players, if you're demonstrating, like a technical skill, let's say, follow the belly button rule. And the belly button rule just means you're standing in a position where your players could see your belly button. So if I'm demonstrating a forehand, then I should make sure my player's in a position they could see it. If I'm demonstrating a backhand, you get the idea. So think about where you're standing when you're demonstrating a skill. But that wasn't exactly what the coach was talking about, or it wasn't fully what the coach was talking about. They were also talking about where you stand when the activities are happening. So let's say, for example, that I'm running a pickleball clinic and I've got 3 courts going at once. Well, if I'm between courts number 1 and 2 up by the net post, I'm not in a great place to see very much. Maybe I could look one way and I could see courts number 2 and number 3, but I'm not going to see number 1 because it's behind me. Or if I turn, I'm facing court number 1, but now I'm not going to see courts 2 and 3, right? That's a problem. And in fact, even if I am looking at courts 2 and 3, if I'm standing at the net post, I can kind of see the people on the right of me, the people on the left of me, but it's going to be hard to see everyone at once. So instead, what you should do when you're a coach, when you're running some sort of group programming, is walk around the outside of the court, stand around the outside. If you're at the back of the court, that way you can see everything out in front of you. You've got full perspective and you can see whether people are doing the drill correctly or incorrectly. You can see if balls are coming on the court. Is there some other distraction that's going to be out there? So think about where you position yourself when you're coaching, both teaching a technical skill, also when you're running your groups. And if you do that, you're going to see way more. Your players are going to benefit from it, and you're going to be able to hop on those things when you need to because, well, you see them. Welcome to Pickleball Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Renneson, and today on the show, my top 10 pet peeves when it comes to coaching. All right, welcome to Pickleball Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Renneson, and not too long ago, I was asked by someone to share some of my pet peeves when it came to coaching. I thought, hey, I got a lot of them. I've been doing this long enough that I've got a lot of them, and I thought maybe we should share it today on the podcast. So let's dive right in. Top 10 list in no particular order, but I'm going to start with a hot one. This is an easy one. This is not going to be a hot take for anybody. Being late. Not so much me being late. I mean, I hate that too, and I'm not late for my lessons ever, but I'm often rushing to the lesson, so I don't like that. But when you're participating in the clinic, when you're taking a lesson and you are late, I hate that. It's the worst. Disrupts everything. You come in, let's say I'm teaching a group lesson and I've just explained how we're going to do something or how the day's going to unfold or what's coming up next, and now you don't know what's happening, right? And so you have to ask me or you've got to ask someone else. We got to take the time, or you don't ask anyone and you just try to sneak your way in there, figure it out as you go, and that often doesn't go well either. So being late, especially in a group setting, is really annoying. And I know sometimes it's unavoidable. Dog won't come back from being outside. I've got that problem myself sometimes. I get it. Things happen and that's fine. But it is still annoying when you're late for your lesson. Now, let's say it's not a group setting. Let's say it's a private lesson. What about that? Look, you're paying the money for the group lesson, for the private lesson with that coach. Shouldn't you be able to kind of be there when you get there and it's not a big deal? And I guess maybe that's the case. I can see it. You've bought their time, you've bought their expertise. But I do still think it's kind of like a respect thing. If you're going to meet someone, you try to show up on time. If you're going to be late, at the very least, let them know that you're going to be late. But try not to do it. Don't make it a habit of it because it is pretty annoying. All right. Second pet peeve. The players that interrupt. So let's say, I don't know, we're talking about the advantages of stacking when you're playing pickleball, right? Playing every single point where you're playing on the side that you prefer and your partner's playing on the side they prefer and why we might want to do that. And let's say I'm explaining that to the group and then one person just interrupts and interrupts and interrupts. And it's usually not out of malice. They're not trying to be a jerk. Usually what they're trying to do is they're trying to add something to the conversation. They're excited about it. They like this topic. But that interruption, just like any other kind of interruption in your life, isn't great to deal with. And sometimes it's because it gets us off track, right? Maybe they're talking about something else. Oh, I was watching a tournament and I saw so-and-so do this, right? So that gets us off topic. Or they bring up kind of a counterexample or something like that. And sometimes it's just because they disrupt the flow of the information that's being shared, right? So an experienced coach is the story they're going to tell or the tactical connection they're going to make or whatever it is often in a really deliberate kind of methodical way, especially if they've been doing it for a while. And when someone comes in and interrupts that flow, it kind of interrupts the unfolding of the story, right? So I know it's hard sometimes, but if you're a player in a pickleball lesson, let the coach do their thing. And any good coach afterward will say, are there any questions? Does anyone want to add anything? Anything I think I can clarify? And then that's a great time to add your 2 cents or ask your question or whatever it is. But try to resist the urge to interrupt the story or the explanation that the coach is giving, because it really is pretty disruptive. Number 3 pet peeve when it comes to coaching are those players who hit extra balls. And what I'm talking about in this case is that the coach stops to get everyone's attention, right? You're doing a drill, the coach whistles or whatever keyword they're going to use to get everyone's attention, and then you hit one more ball. And I get it. It's tempting, right? Especially as you're playing and you get that high forehand, that ball's just sitting there, you're ready to put away, coach whistles. It's tempting to hit that one more ball. But I think it's really important that you don't do that. And here's why. So one, it is, again, kind of a respect thing for the coach. When they say stop, you should stop. But there's a second thing, and I think equally, maybe even more important, and that's a safety thing. I remember once I was coaching, I think it was in St. Louis, and we were running a group clinic, and it was, in fact, that situation with the high ball. And I think it was a ground stroke, though. It wasn't a volley. And I blew the whistle. Everyone stopped. Well, 11 out of the 12 people stopped. And then that 12th person, because that ball was sitting up nice and high, they were all excited. They went and they smacked it. Well, guess what? The person on the other side of the net, the person that they were working with, they had stopped and they had turned their attention to the coach to figure out what was happening next. And then guess what? That hard forehand hits them right in the face. So there's a safety issue as well, because it's one thing if everyone's kind of engaging, if you're playing, if you're practicing, everyone's kind of expecting the ball to come toward them. But when the whistle goes and everyone stops, you should be able to assume that that's like a safe moment where you don't have to watch out for balls coming toward you. So resist the temptation to hit that extra ball. Coaches, if you're out there, try not to blow the whistle when they've got that high forehand, because they're going to want to put it away. So honestly, as a coach, when you are going to blow the whistle, when you're going to stop play, try to kind of scan the group as a whole. And, if it's between points, because miraculously, like all the balls are in the net or whatever it is, pick the moments where your players are less likely to want to hit that extra ball, and then you're less likely to have that kind of a problem come up. All right, let's talk about balls some more. And that's those players who just keep hitting balls even after balls hit the net. Let's say I'm doing a drill. Oh, the worst one is let's say we're doing some sort of drill up at the net, a dinking drill or a reflex volley drill or something like that. They hit the ball in the net. Now, what you should do when you hit the ball in the net, reach down, pick it up, start hitting it again, or reach down, pick it up, put it in your pocket, put it in the basket, whatever. But you reach down and pick it up, especially when you're up near the net. Those players who hit, ball hits the net, and then immediately grab another ball from the basket, grab another ball from their pocket, and then keep the drill going again, that is my pet peeve. And I get it. I think they're doing it because they want to keep hitting. They want to keep playing. It's more fun to be hitting the balls, right? They want to be doing something active. Maybe they want to get more reps in, right? So it's not coming from a bad place. But what it is coming from is a place where they're not really considering other people, because now all of a sudden that ball that hit the net is rolling around at other people's feet. And especially if you're up near the net, that's a real safety hazard. So when you hit the ball in the net, pick it up, put it in your pocket, pick it up, get the rally going again, pick it up, put it in a basket, but don't just automatically go hit another ball. Ooh, here's another one I didn't even think of. We're going to add this one. Pet peeve is when players just randomly toss balls to the coach. So let's say I'm out there and I'm demonstrating a drill. I don't know, whatever drill. Like let's say it's volleys to ground strokes. I'm at the baseline. And I don't know, I hit a ball and the player misses it. They shank it, it goes off the edge of their paddle, goes away. Maybe even I miss it. Sometimes I miss a ball too. Like I hit the ball in the net. Anyway, the point is that the demo was interrupted because we missed a shot. We're going to have to keep going. Now, any coach worth their salt will have a ball in their pocket, ready to go for exactly this moment, right? The rally ended, shoot, our demo's not good, let me grab another ball from my pocket, let's go. Often players, because they're trying to be helpful, they'll see that. There's, oh no, coach needs a ball. And they will just toss a ball at the coach. Meanwhile, coach is reaching into their pocket to start the rally again. So that kind of drives me crazy, is when players assume that I need a ball from them. I don't ask for the ball. They just throw the ball, and then it interrupts things. So coaches, I feel you. If you feel that way, always have a ball in your pocket for those moments. And players, don't just toss balls at your coaches, even if you're trying to be helpful. Like, they're responsible, they're professional, they're going to have that ball. Or if they don't, they're going to ask for a ball, but don't just assume they need one.
Hey, have you heard of the new Play More app?
No, what is it?
Basically, the Play More app is like a stress-free scheduling app for pickleballers. So I don't know, we've struggled a lot in group text trying to organize play. You'll set it up and somebody will just like the text. And I'm like, does that actually mean you're coming or not?
Yeah, and it's like, you never know how many people you have, like what rating they are. It's kind of annoying.
It can kind of just be a nightmare to try to organize groups, because group texts are just not fun. So basically, the Play More app lets you send out invitations. You get an RSVP list. If somebody doesn't show, there's a wait list that will actually like put somebody right into.
No way.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Dang, that's awesome. What's it called?
It's called the Play More app. So you should download it at the App Store, or you can go to getplaymore.com if you want to look at it online.
Next pet peeve, the player coach. This is the player in your clinic who thinks that they are also a coach. And whether that's a conversation that's happening as a group and then they add a lot, maybe. I'm thinking more of the ones where the drill is happening, the activity is going on, and then they decide that they are going to coach. They're going to give their advice to the players that are also out there on the court. They're taking the lesson with you. Drives me crazy. And look, sometimes it is helpful advice, and it can be offered in a really gentle way, and it could be good. And so I'm not going to jump on it every single time. But if it is someone that's starting to disrupt, starting to be overbearing, starting to interfere, starting to hurt more than they're helping, then you got to take them aside quietly and say, hey, like, I really appreciate it, but I need you just to concentrate on what you're doing right now. Like, concentrate on your own game. If you got questions, feel free to ask me, right? So that's never a fun conversation to have, but sometimes you got to have it. Next pet peeve, the free rider. And the free rider, what I mean here is the person who's not in your lesson. They're not part of the lessons, but they are enjoying the lesson. They are sitting there, they're watching, they're at the side of the court, they're behind the fence, they're around, right? And they're benefiting, at least in some way, presumably from the lesson. They like watching you, they like hearing you, they're like seeing what's going on, but they're not in the lesson. They haven't paid anything. They're sort of riding the coattails of the people who have. Now, I get it. If you're coaching in a public place, you're out in a park or something like that, they're allowed to do that, right? Like, that's kind of how it goes. It's just sort of bad etiquette, right? Now, you might say, well, Mark, I don't know, if you do a really good job and they're watching, it's almost like free advertising. Maybe they'll sign up and they'll come take the lesson, which I guess is true. But I think if someone does that consistently and incessantly, and they're there for like the whole time, then I think it sort of moves away from just being sort of curiosity and general interest into like, oh, I see something for me here that I'm going to take, and I'm going to take it for free, because don't worry, other people paid for it. So I don't like that. Next pet peeve, being in the wrong group. And I don't just mean, oh, you thought you were supposed to be there Tuesday and you showed up on Wednesday. I mean, when players sign up, I'm sure you don't do this at home, when players sign up for the wrong group, right? It's supposed to be a 3-5 clinic. They show up and they're nowhere near 3-5. And look, there's always going to be a range. There's always going to be a range of acceptability inside any group, where you call it 3-5 and we're going to have people a bit lower, people a bit higher. Or you call it 3-0, 3-5. You're going to have a bit lower, a bit higher. There's that range of acceptability that you can deal with. But sometimes people are really outside the range, and that really causes a problem. One story I remember, I was coaching in Boston years ago, and it was, I think, probably a 3-0, 3-5 drill session. And of course, we had the range of acceptability, but there was this one woman who I could see right off the bat that there was no way that she was going to be even near 3-0. She would regularly swing and miss the ball, like altogether, like not make contact. And I knew it was going to be a problem. We had 12 people. And so what we did is we did a number of activities where they were competitive, like one-on-one, half-court, like skinny singles games, and the winners move one direction and losers move another direction. That's an excellent way to sort people, right? Because the stronger players will keep moving up and the weaker ones will start moving down. And then you can have those players, like they're kind of grouped themselves based on skill. Well, this one woman, I started her at the top, and predictably, she lost. and lost and lost and lost and lost and lost and kept losing even though she was in the basement. And didn't just lose, but lost badly. And I wanted this as like a piece of evidence that I could use when I was going to ask her to leave. And so during the water break, I mean, by this point, we'd been there together like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe. I took her aside and I said, oh, hey, so-and-so, can I talk to you for a second out in the hall? And we went out and I said, hey, so how do you think it's going? She says, oh, great. I think it's going great. I'm having a lot of fun. And I said, oh, okay. That's pretty different from what I'm seeing. She said, what do you mean? And I said, well, like I've been watching quite carefully and it looks like you're really struggling out there. Oh, no, I'm not struggling. I'm doing fine. I think I'm holding my own. I play better with better players. I said, yeah, okay. The games we just played, right? We did like 10 rotations of up and down. How many of them did you win? She says, well, a couple. I said, no, actually, you lost all 10. And it was a hard conversation. And as she saw the direction it was going, that I was going to be asking her to leave with a full refund and everything. And I said, look, like, I think this isn't the right place for you. I'm happy to give you a full refund, but yeah, it's not fair to the other people in the group if one of the players can't keep up. And she started to cry and she started to call me names and she started to swear. And that's a tough one. And this all came because she signed up for the wrong program. She signed up for the wrong group. She didn't understand how skill levels worked. She did understand it, didn't care. She had a different sense of what her ability was and whatever it might have been, but she was in the wrong place. It wasn't good for her. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for the group. And in the end, she had to go home. So that's a tough one. But if you are going to send someone home because they're outside the range of acceptability, then just make sure you have that conversation privately and make sure that you have some evidence to kind of back up. It's not just, well, I saw you, I don't think you're good enough. It's, look, like you lost every time and we played a bunch. Next pet peeve, a light drizzle. And this isn't so much about players that are annoying me. It's about the weather. And I get it. If you're outside, if you're coaching outside, getting rained out sucks. But getting rained out when it's like a real downpour, that's not so bad. Like, you know it's coming. You can see it. It's raining hard. There's no question. Pickleball is going to be canceled today. Get on with your day. Make other plans, right? That part's fine. What really annoys me is when it's a light drizzle, when it's just kind of misting out there, right? And are the courts too wet to play? Yeah, but if it stops in the next like minute, it could stop anytime and it's going to dry up. It's so hot. And so that drives me crazy because it's hard to definitively plan. If you go and you cancel those lessons, you say to everyone, hey, looks like it's going to rain. Looks like it is raining. Rain's in the forecast. And then sure enough, inevitably, once you've canceled everything, the skies get clear, it gets warm, courts are dry in a second, and you look like the bad guy because you've now canceled your lessons and clearly you didn't need to. Or you have hope. You have hope that the rain's going to stop. It's going to dry up. You go, you tell everyone to come. And then what happens? It just persistently keeps drizzling wet enough that you can't play. By the way, coaches, my recommendation to you, have a really, really low threshold for risk. Like, don't let your players play when it's wet, even if it's just dinking. Certainly don't run your lessons if it's wet like that. It's very dangerous. Anyway, a light drizzle, real pet peeve here, because I don't know what to do with that. It can't be that definitive one way or the other. And it seems like no matter which choice I end up making, it's the wrong one. So that's the worst. Next pet peeve, the person who wants to record the lesson, or at least everything you're saying. If you're like me, as you're out there and you're coaching and you bring everyone in, you kind of do a debrief, you talk about what you saw or you talk about what you're working on. And every once in a while you get that person who wants to record it. And they either want to record it as video, just pull out their phone and record you, or they want to record it as audio. And I find both of those weird, or at least uncomfortable for me. I don't love it. As someone who spends a lot of time in making video and audio, that's fine. But there's something about being in the lesson and someone doing this. Oh no, I'm just doing it for myself. I'm keeping it for myself. Usually in those cases, I would say, hey, I get it. I'm going to try to be really clear. So you probably won't need to record it, or you can take some notes afterwards. And you know what? I'm going to send you a follow-up summary too. So you don't need to record. That's usually what I do. Because also sometimes other people in the group aren't comfortable with being recorded, right? And if you're doing video, it's very hard to keep someone out of the picture. And also, you don't know what's going to happen with that video in the end, like where it's going to end up, right? And if people are paying to be there, it's supposed to be for them. So I think different coaches might have different attitudes toward this, but for me, don't like it when someone asks if they can record during our lesson. And my final pet peeve, at least for this episode of the show, my final pet peeve is the ball roller. The ball roller, these people. These are the people when, the ball hits the net and it's on the ground and it's got to go back to the other side of the court. And instead of bending down, picking it up and tossing it over or hitting it over to the other side, they just roll it. Usually with their paddle. Sometimes they kick it. Rolling it under the net. I hate that. I hate that. In my mind, it's a disrespectful kind of thing. Like, you're making them bend over to pick up the ball. You can't be bothered to... You're bending over anyway, by the way. But you can't be bothered to pick it up and give it to them. I don't know. People might disagree. The same way I think you should apologize when you hit the net and the ball just dribbles over and you win an easy point. I still think it's good etiquette to apologize for that. Not everyone agrees. I think it's good etiquette to pick up the ball, toss it to the people on the other side. Don't just kick it to them. Don't just roll it to them. Ugh. I don't know. What do you think? We're getting to the end of the show. What do you think? Why not send me an email about this? info@pickleballcoachinginternational.com. info@pickleballcoachinginternational.com. Let us know what etiquette things or what peeves did I get right? What peeves did I get wrong? What are some of your peeves? I'd love maybe do another episode of this where you can share your peeves with me. By the way, if you ever want to send a voice note, you can do that too. Again, info@pickleballcoachinginternational.com. Just open up the voice note app on your phone. Send it to me. Maybe we play it on the show. But tell me about some of your pet peeves. Would love to hear about them. Lastly, if you are a pickleball coach or you'd like to get started, why not check out Pickleball Coaching International? We do all sorts of really great coach education stuff and instructor certification. What's cool about it, it's all online. So it means you can do your instructor certification course where you want, when you want, at your own convenience. You don't have to miss school or work or travel. You don't have to miss pickleball. You don't have to stay in hotels to go to an instructor certification course. If that is appealing to you, check out Pickleball Coaching International at pcipickleball.com. Until next time, I'm Mark Renneson. Thanks for joining me.